I believe a good manager is somebody that can manage the staff effectively, that can enable people on the team to be the best they can be, to reach their potential, can support individuals to work effectively, to understand where they fit in the team and how everything that they do as part of their job enables the organisation to develop.
A good manager is able to run a business unit effectively. So essentially a business unit being any part of the company or a unit of the company or the whole company in itself. The key to being a good manager, I think, is the relationship with the staff is the paramount importance.
Give them responsibility. A good manager would allow people to exercise that responsibility. Sometimes it goes wrong. Getting things wrong once is fine, twice is unacceptable. But you only learn by making mistakes. And I think a good manager realises that and gives people responsibility and allows them to exercise it.
Because management is about a process. It's creating order out of something. The mark of a really, really good manager is somebody who can take an idea, which might just be plucked out of the air, and turn it into something which actually happens. So that's usually via planning, by having a good strong budget, by working out the resources that are needed, who are the best skills to bring into position to deliver.
Making sure that communication is effective, which is a difficult one. I think that's the one that I find the most challenging, but making sure that communication is effective across a team and that we all work together to achieve the objectives for the organisation. As part of managing the team development for individuals, people should feel comfortable and confident coming to the manager and saying, I have a training need, or I'm not sure how to do this, can you help? And then being able to support that individual to develop, to enable them to fulfil the objectives of their role effectively.
Becoming a manager, a line manager for the first time has been a challenge. Over the past year, I've had to just manage a single person on the project that I work on. They need to know where they are in the work process and the workflow. They need to have deadlines set. They just need to make a comfortable environment, for them.
There's also the financial side, managing budgets, making sure that you stay on top of the budgets, that we don't overspend. In our organisation, we're a funded organisation, so it's equally as important with certain elements to maximise the money that we have, get the most from it and make sure that it goes as far as it possibly can.
For me, a good manager is somebody who can take an idea and turn it into an event or a process or something that actually makes a difference. And they do that by using the right resources at the right times. And there's lots of really clever tricks to management. There's lots of process management tips, there's lots of time management tips, there's a number of different ways of budgeting. And I think for any confident manager, the key thing is to use the tips that you're most comfortable with, to use the ideas and the methods that you're most comfortable with. But for all of us, it's a really good idea to explore a little bit what the different models of management are, and you can do that via training, via courses, etc., or by talking to your colleagues. And one of the most effective ways of identifying your own management methods is by watching other managers.
It's important to have trust, it's important to have commitment, so that anything that you do within the business is done as effectively and as productively as possible. So if you have that kind of relationship with your staff, you should get the best out of them. They will believe in you as a manager, but also you will believe in them to go away, get the job done, and do things as effectively as possible.
A good manager also tackles issues. If, for example, you've got a team of 4 or 5 people, for example, and one of them isn't pulling their weight, a good manager will deal with that out of respect for the other 4 people who are pulling their weight. And if a manager doesn't tackle that issue, then they lose respect.
The very first manager I had in my very first job said to me, Dawn, if you want to get on, all you need to remember is all most people want from work is to be treated like a human being. And if you remember that, you won't go far wrong. And I think that's so true, because when anyone's having a hard time, often as the manager, you can feel as if you're very, very focused on the goals, you can sometimes forget you're dealing with people. And actually, if the people are happy, you'll get a much better job.
A good manager is also sensitive to what's going on around and about, and realises that because you are in a position of responsibility and authority, that people will sometimes tell you what they think you want to know than maybe what you need to know. It's important to know the difference. It's very important that you this is really why it's important to talk to people and to listen to everybody, because by doing that, you begin to understand really what the true position is, and as a manager, you need to know what the true position is.
It's about managing your staff effectively, managing any resources that you have at hand. And I think ultimately, I would like to think that a good manager could be removed from a team for a short amount of time, and that team would function effectively and achieve everything that it had to achieve.
I think the personal qualities of a manager, I mean, there's the whole debate, isn't there, about the difference between a management and a leader. I think managers are people who can, like I say, who can run an organisational unit well. That's things, I believe, that's something that you can learn. You can go away and academically learn about management through an MBQ or an MBA or something like that. Whereas leadership is more about steering, leading by example, and being able to sort of really lead from the front and get people to believe in you that way. So I kind of see management as a little bit more of a process. So you need to kind of know what you're doing. You need to know how to get the best out of people, organise things, develop strategies, develop things like appraisal, so you can assess people's performance, all that kind of stuff. It's very much a process-driven thing, whereas leadership I see as a little bit more entrepreneurial, if you like.
I think to be a good manager, if you have a good personality and can get on with people, it helps. It has to be said, though, there are some terrible managers who still get good results. It depends really what it is you want to achieve. I actually think that in most organisations, if you're clear about what you want and encourage and develop the people to give you what you want, then in actual fact you end up with a much happier organisation.
Anyone can learn to be a good manager, and I think in many respects there are lots of people who don't have the job title of manager who are actually really good managers. And then there are lots of people who manage in untold ways, who are part of a team and probably wouldn't see themselves as a manager, but actually they perform a key part of the management process.
I think you can develop some of the personal qualities, but I think you do have to have some natural qualities. You need to have to be quite assertive, but you also need to be able to understand the barriers that people face. You have to be able to support them to overcome those barriers. And like anything, you have to sometimes make difficult decisions. So you have to do that in spite of the effect that, how you feel about doing it. Sometimes those difficult decisions need to be made. So I think integrity, assertiveness, I think honesty and trust's really important in a manager. Good communication skills, and being able to recognise potential in others and develop that in some way.